Do you hate child labor? Do you love the environment? Do you want clothes that'll last? Ethics are important, so making sure that you buy clothes that uphold your moral code is crucial to enjoying your daily life. It is commonly said that there is no ethical consumption under capitalism. I, however, don't believe that that is true. What's up, y'all? I am Tanner with Gateway Fashion, and today I want to teach you how to consume clothing ethically and how to make your purchases worthwhile. We're going to start at the very bottom and talk about the companies that you should almost never shop with and work our way up to the best way for you to obtain your clothing. The first and certainly worst layer are the online fast fashion websites that we've all grown accustomed to hating. These are your Sheins, your Temus, and some parts of AliExpress. These flash fashion, as I'll call them today, websites are the worst place for you to get your clothes, hands down. These sites and the clothing they make are horrible for the environment, and they take advantage of almost everyone involved in the production process. The business model that these companies uses is very predatory. It takes advantage of the customer by offering them very low prices on very low quality goods. These pieces are sold at very, very low profit margins, meaning that the companies only make money when buyers come back time and time again. And the clothing is designed around this profit model. The clothing is designed to wear down very quickly, so the user needs to replace it more and more often. The designers behind these mass-produced pieces work very hard to follow trends and put the clothing on very attractive model so the buyer thinks that the clothing looks better than it actually does. This again leads to a very low amount of longevity in the clothing that you're buying, meaning that they'll quickly go out of trend, and once you put them on, you'll realize it doesn't look as good on you as it does on the models that they use. This means that the clothing is going to be leaving your wardrobe very quickly. And because of how low quality the sites are, most of the clothing is made out of 100% polyester, which is not going to biodegrade very quickly. This leads to a huge backup of clothing in our environment, which is awful for everybody involved. So not only is this flash fashion terrible for the environment and the employees, but it's also awful for you as the consumer. At the end of the day, it is pretty easy to tell if you're looking at a flash fashion website. The biggest red flags are going to be overly good deals that are being shoved into your face, lack of specifics on the materials of the clothing, and very slow shipping times. All of these are very telltale signs of a sketchy website, and it's even more so true when it comes to your clothing. Okay, the next level up from here are the physical versions of these sites, the true fast fashion stores. These are your H&Ms or your Zaras. The quality of the clothing is the first step up that you'll find here. Instead of just being 100% polyester, it's usually a better blend between polyester and cotton, which still isn't the best, but it's much better than the 100% pure plastic that you'll find on a site like Shein. The production processes behind these companies are notoriously wasteful. They have these huge production lines that will be quickly scrapped as soon as the new trend rolls around. Companies like this do their best to keep prices as low as possible, which usually ends up on the backs of the workers creating your clothing. Many Zara employees aren't paid a livable wage, even in countries with a much lower cost of living than Spain, where the company of Zara is based out of. All of these are very common issues that surround a lot of the fashion industry, is the overproduction of low quality goods. And these fast fashion stores aren't uncommon. However, you need to be aware of where you're shopping, because a single purchase at a fast fashion store like this isn't detrimental, but it's the continued business that you give them that will truly ruin the environment and continue to harm the underpaid employees. The next level up is where most people buy their clothes, the popular, less sustainable brands. These brands aren't as bad for the consumers, but many of their practices leave negative impacts on both the environment and the participants of their supply chain. One of the most notable brands that ends up here is Nike. The company severely underpays its employees, leading to many scandals. In 2024, over 1,000 Sri Lankan employees did a walkout in order to demonstrate that they were upset about how little they were being paid because it wasn't enough to live at all in their own country. While the labor practices still aren't the best, the quality of the clothing and the environmental footprint that these companies leave is where the true difference is made. The well-managed, streamlined supply chains lead to a much smaller carbon footprint, and the less replaceably designed clothing leads to less waste from the consumer. You shouldn't feel bad about shopping at one of these popular retailers, but it is good to remain conscious of what you are doing when you are buying your clothes. While many popular brands work against ethics, there are certainly some that cut against this grain. Patagonia is a very notable example of this. With an environmentally conscious approach to production and a valiant effort to reduce unfair workplace conditions, Patagonia is generally recognized as the most ethical, popular brand that you can find. The quality also matches the high standards set by the company. With clothing built to last, the waste production is more tightly managed. Unfortunately, for a mindful consumer, a company like Patagonia can only raise its quality by raising its prices. However, though, Patagonia isn't the only company with a brain. Many smaller or local brands have a commitment to quality, sustainability, and honesty. You'll have to do your own research here, but it's not hard to find many fashionable clothes that you can wear with a clean conscience if you just look a little. Finally, in our ranking, we're past buying new. The next step up in our ladder is buying secondhand from a resale website. Resale websites work to keep clothing out of the dumpster and into the hands of those who will love them and wear them again. Because resale websites will only ship within the country without placing heavy punishment on you, the shipping is usually much more green than any international business. By buying resold clothes, a majority of the profit ends up in the hands of the seller, meaning by purchasing these clothes, you're supporting an actual person instead of just feeding a corporate machine. The individual sites that you shop from have their own kind of personality. You need to know what you want before choosing where to shop. Depop has lots for a cheaper price. eBay has some clothes, but it's rare to find something awesome. And Grailed is great, but it's incredibly expensive and a bit hard to use. The one bad thing about these resale websites is that they encourage thrift scalping. Because of the ability to make a profit off of the clothing, it encourages people to over-purchase and under-donate to the thrift store, throwing off the entire thrift cycle. And this thrift cycle is very important because thrifting, without a doubt, is the best way for you to buy your clothes. These stores make large contributions to meaningful causes as well as reducing the waste that is in our environment. The quality of the clothes at the thrift store is variable, but unlike online retailers, you can actually gauge this quality by trying it on yourself. As the consumer, these incomparably low prices make buying as easy as it could possibly be. Thrifting makes getting into clothing a lot more accessible to the layman of fashion, and this is such a good and positive thing for the community. The only thing better than thrift stores are local thrift stores. Many community thrift stores work almost exclusively off of volunteer work and donations. This leads to an even more sizable portion of profits going towards good causes. However, the causes that local thrift stores contribute to will actually be local. So by choosing the right place to buy your clothes, you're not only bettering your wardrobe, but you're bettering your community and saving the environment. Next time, make the ethical choice. But as always, go out there, wear some cool clothes, and I'll see you next time.